What's going on, traders? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe, and today I wanted to go through my latest trade. I'm actually currently still in the trade here on the S&P 500 ES mini futures contracts. You can see here I am up about 30 points with one contract for now on the position. I was able to get into the position earlier this morning, right before the open and the news releases for today. So I wanted to kind of go through this trade because it is counter trend, which is typically not something I'm very interested in. But with ES, I actually do put a lot of focus into these counter trend moves sometimes. And I wanted to word kind of how I know when to focus on that and kind of how I managed this trade kind of start to finish here. If you have any questions, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, as well as leave a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you on those as well. If we see here off to the left, this is the hourly time frame on the ES futures contract, and we can see that within the last couple weeks, right, we did have a big channel last week with ES where we were stuck within really these two major key levels. And then essentially ever since we did this breakdown of that channel, we've essentially just been in a slow and steady downtrend. So there's been a ton of really good trades lately. Even last week, kind of in this channel, there were also some good trades where you can try to buy the dip and you can try to short these resistance levels. So we caught some really nice trades last week. And then this week has essentially been really nice for shorts, right? So we can see pretty much every day there's been a push right at the open that's offered a really nice short. So Tuesday had a really nice short. Wednesday had pretty much the identical short there. And then for today, what I noticed was if we look here off to the left and we zoom out a little bit, maybe look at like the daily chart, and I'll take off my drawings here just so it's a little bit more clean. We can see that ES has really taken a dive, right? And typically within a bull market, these pullbacks on ES are very short-lived, right? So we can see this pullback in April of this year was fairly short-lived. This pullback in August this year was a little bit longer-lived, but we can see that these were actually the best buying opportunities of the year. Obviously, that's with hindsight bias, right? We can see that ES offered really good buys off of these dips, but essentially that's what caught my interest today, right? I noticed, okay, we've dropped 200 points now. This is becoming one of those risk to reward trades that really interest me. My biggest trade ever actually was this last move higher on ES, where I was able to take a lot from the market. And so really focusing on that again here, where potentially I'm seeing a support area potentially, right, where ES could bounce as that 100 moving average on the daily is getting extremely close. We can also see we are starting to hold, and we are also seeing that momentum on the 1 minute chart. So here off to the right is today's price action. We can see that we were in a downtrend overnight. So futures trade nearly 24/7. We can see throughout last night's session and this morning's, we were headed lower. And then right around 3 in the morning central, we can see that we stopped dropping, right? So this was the lowest spot of the day. Ever since then, we've actually started to begin kind of a small uptrend. And that's essentially how I was able to get into the trade. So if I show my trades here, I'll show where I was able to get in. So I essentially was able to wait for this downtrend to stop. And then I was able to find a really low risk spot on the chart where I could risk less than 20 points for potential, right, of hundreds of points depending on the momentum we get here. And so I was able to get in with extremely small risk. I only took one contract. I think my initial risk was around $800. Now my stop loss, you can see, is at break even. So I have moved my stop loss up to exactly where I ended up getting into the trade. This is something I do on a lot of my trades day to day, but especially when they really kick off and start working. I will trail that stop loss. And typically I'll start trailing based on the chart. And then at a certain point, right, when it gets to target or gets close to some of my targets, right, that's where I will start moving it to break even and above break even. So now we are risking zero for potentially, right, best case scenario, right, if we went to all-time highs, we could potentially make about $12,000. And so this is a really cool way to get yourself into really big trades and then keep yourself safe right within that trade, because obviously if this is going to go and push up to all-time highs, first of all, right, that trade would probably take quite a while just because there is hundreds of points to move. So not only is it a trade that takes patience, but it is a trade that you have to manage, right? Because at any given point, this could turn around, and you want to make sure at a certain point you're not taking a loss if it does turn around. So hopefully this swing trade on ES makes sense. We can have another video to follow up here as well with kind of how the trade ends up playing out. I think for now I'm still up about 40 points or 30 to 40 points here. So we'll see if this ends up being just a day trade where I get out today, or if it does turn into a swing trade. The way I'll typically gauge it is just see how strong we actually close today. We've got some really big key resistance areas now to break through. So far, so good, right? We broke yesterday's lows, which is kind of a good step one, if you will. But now we're going to have to get through, right, these other moving averages and key levels on our hourly time frame before I get too confident here. We are starting to break out of the bull flag, which is a good sign. So tons of momentum after that unemployment report and those various other reports came out today, which definitely helps with confidence. But if anyone watching this trade recap has questions, again, feel free to leave those down below. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next time.